do not own the rights to the music. I do not own the rights to the music. I don't own the rights to the music. I like that song. Y'all come on in if you're coming. If not, I'm just going to drop the message and dip, okay? I'm going to go off grid for a few days, but I wanted to drop some deep knowledge, okay? Leave y'all with something to think about as we experience all of these astrological events, okay? So, if you don't know, my name is Malik from Malik's Mystical Magic and Intuitive Consultations. I normally am on Facebook, but I am growing my audience in TikTok, YouTube, as well as Instagram. All Malik's Mystical Magic, all K's. That's how you find me. Nonetheless, we're going to talk about a few things. Wait on y'all to come in, and if not, I'll get moving in a moment. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's play that one more again. I don't own the rights to the music. I do not own the rights to the music. Facebook, Meta, let me be great today, okay? So I am going to talk about the full moon lunar eclipse that is approaching Friday. If you look in the sky, you will see how bright and big it will become. And it'll also turn red a little bit, okay? Which is why they're calling it the blood moon. But this is a very intense moon. All full moons are. This one is an eclipse. So something in the Virgo house of your natal chart will probably experience this. Especially if you have any planets or any angles or aspects that this moon eclipse is making to your natal chart. If you need to know, I'm an astrologer, I'm a tarot reader, I'm a numerologist, okay, I'm a financial literacy teacher, as well as a jewelry stone healing creator. So, with that said, let's get into this message. I don't plan on being on here long. I wanted to drop the knowledge, and then I wanted to dip, okay? I do have a reading that I'm going to do for a young lady after I get the collective message out. Okay, so my message today is basically going to discuss the year of the snake. I know the last video that I did, I discussed the universal year 9. And we come to that 9 because we add 2025 the year, and that is 9. 9 is about completions, endings, and we know endings bring about beginnings. So the year is a 9. If you pay attention and if you're intuitive to understand what's going on collectively, you will see that there's a lot of endings and changes and challenges and things that are going on collectively and personally as well. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the year of the snake, because the Chinese astrology is a little different in its approach and technique, but the meaning is the same. So I wanted to tap into that, dip into a little numerology, give you a little guidance on how to calculate your numbers, and then we'll dip into the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. Mercury is stationing pre-shadow to go into retrograde what that message is and how this is going to be affecting your rising signs. Okay, now you can look at this from your sun sign or your moon sign, but I'm showing what is going for the rising sign, your ascendant. So if you know that, this is where you would focus on. Okay, now we're going to get into the year of the snake. So the year of the snake is one of the 12-year cycles in the Chinese zodiac, symbolizing wisdom, transformation, and intuition. Okay, that is what the year of the snake, this year of the snake, means for us as a collective, okay, and individually. And so individuals that are born under this sign are often considered insightful and mystical. But the most recent year of the snake started January the 29th of this year, 2025, and will conclude on February the 16th of 2026. Okay. And so just to give us some historical background, years associated with the snake, okay, that have significant global events that coincide with that. 1929 was the Earth snake. That was the onset of the Great Depression, a severe worldwide economic downturn. The next, 1941, was the metal snake. That was the attack on Pearl Harbor, leading to the United States' entry into World War II. The 1953 was the water snake. That was the death of the Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, marking a pivotal shift in Soviet politics. The 1965 year was the wood snake, escalation of the Vietnam War, significantly impacting global geopolitics. The next is 1977, which was a fire snake. That was at the end of China's Cultural Revolution, which was a period of major socio-political upheaval. Okay. 3 more to go. 1989 was the Earth snake, okay? The Tiananmen Square protests that occurred in China and the fall of the Berlin Wall. Okay, I remember that as a kid, signaling the decline of communist regimes in the Eastern Europe area. Then we had the 2001, which was the 2001, which was the metal snake. That was the September 11th terrorist attack in the United States, leading to profound changes in the global security policies. The next snake year was a water snake, 2013. While not marked by a singular defining event, that particular year saw various global developments, including the leadership transitions and economic fluctuations, okay? So the current year that we're in now, the year of the snake in 2025, is specifically associated with the wood element, which is symbolizing growth, flexibility, and renewal. This combination here suggests a period ripe for personal development and transformation. Okay, so celebrations worldwide have embraced these themes with cultural events, traditional performances, and communal gatherings, highlighting the rich heritage associated with the snake in the Chinese zodiac. Okay, so let me get into it here. It's also take note of the importance that while these historical patterns provide context, they don't predetermine future events, okay? This is all just coincidental, okay? But the year of the snake often offers an opportunity for reflection, growth, and embracing change on both personal and collective levels. Now, I mentioned that, because I want us to know, there are a lot of apps out there or websites out there that will allow you to identify your Chinese zodiac sign. Because what year were you born in? I could tell you what that is, okay? But the Chinese zodiac operates on a 12-year cycle. So with each year associated with an animal sign, So you find your birth year in the list, okay? And so I'm going to just use me as an example. 1972 is the year I was born. So that makes me a rat in the Chinese zodiac, okay? And so It's also important to determine the element of the birth year. Okay, so each zodiac year is associated with one of the 5 elements. In the Chinese zodiac, they have wood, fire, earth, metal, and water in a 60-year cycle. So you would find your birth year's last digit. So if it's 0 to 1, that's metal. 2 to 3, water. 4 to 5, wood. 6 to 7, fire. 8 to 9, earth. Okay, so as an example, if you were born in 1989, you are an earth snake. If you were born in 1992, you are a water monkey, okay? And so this is really significant personally, you know, when it comes to your birth year, because the zodiac animal traits represent your sign, your personality, your strengths, and your challenges, right? The elements influence to that adds depth to that meaning of that sign. And the compatibility is certain signs are naturally compatible or in conflict with each other. You at 80, okay. So 80, you are a, let's see. You are a monkey, okay. And your element is metal. So you are a metal monkey, okay? So there you go to do your research on that. What does this year of the snake, how is that going to impact the metal monkey, okay? Now, I am a water rat. Okay, and it's interesting because I'm like, damn, I'm from East St. Louis, and you know, the Jimmies used to call us river rats, and I'm like, damn, you know, that never bothered me. Now I know why, okay, because I am a water rat in Chinese zodiac. Okay, now, so let's do something really quick. Okay, now, so basically, you can use this for compatibility. Certain signs are naturally compatible or in conflict with others. And then your Bing, Ming, Yang, I might not be saying it right, but it also shows you every 12 years you enter your zodiac year, which is said to bring challenges, but also opportunities for transformation. Okay, so let's get into this numerology a little bit here. In numerology, your birth year can also influence your life path number, so which is found by reducing your birth date to a single digit. Okay, so let's say April 7, 1989. You just add all them numbers up individually. It equals to an 11. Break that down. It equals to a 2. Life path 2, that's diplomacy, that's balance, that's sensitivity. Okay, that's an example there. Then you might want to look at your annual personal year cycle. You can also determine your personal year number in numerology to see how your birth energy interacts with the current year. And to do so, you basically take your birth month plus your birthday plus the current year's digit. Okay, so we're going to say April 7th as the example, 2025 as the current year. Add all them numbers up, it equals to 2. To reduce that to a single digit, that's 2. Okay, so 2025 will be a personal year 2 for someone born on April the 17th. April the 7th. So this helps to determine whether a year is favorable for growth, relationships, career changes, etc. You know, so just kind of using me as an example to give you some context here. My Chinese zodiac sign and element 1972, okay? My zodiac sign, I'm a rat. My element is water. The years ending in 2 or 3. I'm a 1972. Yeah, you are. So my full astrological identity based on Chinese zodiac is water rat, okay? And so, you know, I'm a rat. You know, what is a rat? Because a lot of us, my peers, you know, 1972, and then others that are in that year of the rat, these are intelligent people, resourceful and adaptable, okay? Quick-witted and strategic, often making great entrepreneurs and leaders. Yet selective when it's social, when it comes to trust, but they have a strong intuition, okay? They're hardworking, they're ambitious, but they can be secretive or overly cautious. It's crazy because my moon is in the 12th house. That I am, okay? But when you put it together, water rat, water enhances intuition, diplomacy, and adaptability, okay? So compared to other rat natives, okay, water rats are more emotionally aware and able to navigate social situations smoothly. They can be very persuasive and analytical, but also sensitive to their surroundings. And girl, when we used to be in the group, somebody was in that group that I wasn't vibing with or wasn't vibing on me, I couldn't do the reading. I had to get up, walk away because my anxiety, my gut was telling me somebody in this room hating on me or sending bad bougie my way, okay? But I pick up on energy around me, and it sometimes isn't good energy. But often somebody who has this water rat, me, 1972, people's success often comes through networking, creative thinking, and leadership, okay? So you know how to calculate your life path number, okay? You take all your dates, your 10, like for me, I'm October 5th, 1972. So that equals a 34. You break that down to a single digit. 3 plus 4 is 7. Life path 7 is the seeker of truth and knowledge, highly introspective, analytical, and spiritual, drawn to deep thinking, mysteries, research, and philosophy. Often has a strong connection to the unseen, such as spirituality, esoteric studies, tarot, astrology. Sounds familiar? And then prefers solitude at times, but can be magnetic when engaged in deep discussions. I'm a hermit. I'm a Virgo moon, Virgo Venus. Okay, so Virgo rising, hermit to the T. Okay, now, to calculate your personal year for 2025, what you would do is you take your birth month and your birthday plus the current year, okay? And that will be your personal year. So for me, my birth month is 10, my birthday is 5, and I'm taking 2025, the current year. All of that adds up to a 24. I'm breaking it down to a single digit, right? 2 plus 4 is 6. So my personal year is 6. My personal year 6 is about relationships, responsibility, and harmony. My focus is on home, family, and emotional stability. Okay, love, caretaking, healing, deepening relationship. All that emotional stuff is going on right now in my personal year. Okay, so let's get further into some things. Okay, now this is what I wanted to do. So the 5 elements that are complementary to the animal, the zodiac animals, right? The 5 elements are fundamental concept in the Chinese philosophy, astrology, medicine, and metaphysics. They represent the dynamic forces of nature that interact and influence all aspects of life. So those 5 elements, as mentioned before, is you're 4, yeah. Grounded, girl, you so damn grounded. This don't make no sense, girl, okay? You have, okay, so wood. Okay, so basically, these elements here represent the dynamic force of nature that interacts and influences all aspects of life. So wood, that's about growth, creativity, and expansion. Fire, that's about passion, transformation, and action. Earth, that's about stability, nourishment, and grounding. Metal, that's structure, discipline, and refinement. And water, intuition, adaptability, and wisdom. Okay? And so these, one may ask, why are there 5 elements? Unlike the Western concept of the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, air, okay, the Chinese system includes 5 because it's based on their natural cycles of creation and destruction rather than the static categories, okay? So when you observe these natural cycles, the 5 elements describe how the energy moves and transforms in the universe. So they are associated with different seasons, directions, colors, organs in the Chinese medicine, okay, and even personality traits. So wood, spring, growth, birth, upward energy, okay. Fire, summer, heat, peak energy, transformation. Earth, late summer, okay? Stability, transition. Metal, autumn, okay? Harvest, consolidation. Water, winter. Storage, retreat, deep wisdom, okay? And so the elements don't exist in isolation. They interact with two main cycles, okay? So the creative generating cycle, which is one element, nurtures the next. Wood fuels fire. Fire creates earth, which is ash. Earth produces metal, which is minerals. Metal enriches water, which is the condensation. And water nourishes wood, which is trees are growing, okay? There's also some destructive controlling cycle here. One element can weaken or control another, okay? So wood breaks earth when tree roots disrupt soil. Earth blocks water, dams and absorbs water. Water extinguishes fire, okay? And fire melts metal. Metal chops wood, like axes cutting trees, okay? So this system kind of helps explain the balance and the imbalance in nature, health, relationships, and even astrology, okay? And so we're going to do this real quick. Do something really quick before I jump off into, I want to make sure, because I knew you were going to be on here, sis. Let's see how it is. Okay. Okay. So when we look at and I did this on one of my previous lives where I talked about the universal 9 year, but when we look at both of them, you know, how the year of the snake and the universal year 9 is affecting us as a collective in 2025. 2025 is that year of the wood snake in the Chinese zodiac and a universal year 9 in numerology. And so this combination here brings a profound period of transformation, endings, wisdom, and preparations for a new cycle. You know what I'm saying? And so the universal 9 year, the end of a cycle in the numerologically speaking, a universal year 9 is the final year in a 9-year cycle, okay? That represents completion, closure, letting go of what no longer serves us. Deep reflection and looking back at past experience for that wisdom. Have you learned from that experience? Spiritual awakening and humanitarian efforts, okay? Emotional intensity as unresolved matters from the past resurface for you to heal them. And global shifts as outdated systems collapse and transformation begins. And I hate to say this, but if we're paying attention to these aerospace modes of transportation that are having a lot of problems, is technology, okay? The technology is changing. The frequency is changing. The energy is changing. The death of the old. So we can get into the new, more innovative age of Aquarius now. More innovative, more productive ways, right? So I see that outdated system collapsing in that regard because it's affecting us globally, okay? And then, so the themes that we may see collectively in 2025, the universal year 9, major endings in global politics. Hello? Are we seeing that? Major endings in leadership and outdated institutions. We seeing that? Okay. There's going to be a push for spiritual and emotional healing on a collective level. I think we all feeling that energetically, okay? People are starting to question deep truths and seek higher wisdom. Okay, that's that spiritual conscious, mass conscious awakening that we're all going through. Also, the increased activism, humanitarian movements, and collective responsibility as we gear up for this age of Aquarius, right? More focus is on climate change, environmental shifts, and sustainability, okay? Now we have someone that's higher than us that is doing the opposite of what we're going to be doing, Okay, so let's look at compare that to the year of the snake. Okay, the snake is a sign of wisdom, transformation, secrecy, and deep thinking. Okay, the wood element adds themes of growth, renewal, and adaptability. So the wood snake energy for this year, 2025, is about secrets and hidden knowledges revealed. Okay, so we can expect some global truths to surface. Okay, slow but strategic transformation. Okay, unlike sudden shifts, snake energy is very methodical. Okay, focus on intellectual and psychological and spiritual growth. We're all going through that. Okay, whether we understand it, can make sense of it, we all are ascending in some way, and we're adjusting to the energy that's upon us. Okay, hey sis, how you doing? Hey Dorsha, how y'all doing? Okay, so then the other thing that we can experience potentially this year with regards to the year of the snake would be caution and deception in the politics and the media. Okay, this is interesting. So when I do my research, these are things that have already been preordained. They go back. And what I say, go do your own research to validate and confirm what I say. Okay, but it's ironic that this energy is what it is, and we know what's going on out there. Okay, yes, sweetheart, yes. Okay, so then another thing is I want us to take into consideration caution and deception in politics and media. The snake is clever and can manipulate. Okay, we're being censored. Okay, we're not even able to check out what's going on. And I ain't really a political person, but because of the type of politics we have going on today, you got my attention because it affects Medicare. It affects my people, us as a collective. So this is something that my ear is glued to the independent medias, okay? Because they're not going to tell us this on regular mainstream media because they want to keep us in the dark. This is that same similar energy that I feel when the pandemic took off, where they wanted to, keep us in the dark, lie to us, fearmonger us and all of that. Okay, so AI got a lot of videos up that are not real. Okay, stories that are coming out that are not real. Okay, we're being deceived, especially when it comes to the media and the politics. Just know that deception is there. If you ain't paid attention, I don't know where you been. Okay, I don't know where you been. Okay, but there's a lot been going on. We're going to keep going because I could talk about this all day. The next thing is financial and technological innovations. So snakes are very strategic and can bring breakthroughs. And that's what we're expecting with this age of Aquarius energy, this innovative technology, okay, that we are rising towards, okay. Emphasis on personal evolution, okay. So I think that's very important as well because people, kind of will feel called to share their past, okay? Like a snake sheds its skin. We are literally stepping into that. So we want to know how the universal year 9 and the year of the snake work together, okay? And so when we combine the universal year 9, which is about completion, spiritual growth, and endings, with the wood snake, which is about transformation, wisdom, and hidden truths, we get a year of deep change, revelations, and preparation for the next phase. And so what this means for us on a collective levels, expect truths that will surface, which is going to force people to reevaluate their beliefs. Okay? What we used to believe, what we was forced upon to do and believe, the structures, all of that's coming down. Okay? Pluto, the United States experienced their Pluto in Capricorn return, okay? When that took place, Capricorn is the structure, the leader, okay? The government, okay? And lays down the laws and the rules, right? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the teacher, okay? So the government is Capricorn, okay? And so when Pluto went over Capricorn, Pluto is about death, transformation, rebirth, okay? In order for something new, brand new, innovative, creative to sustain humanitarianism, the collective, from the age of Aquarius perspective, the old stuff got to fall, right? So allow Pluto to do what it needs to do. Sit back and watch the theatrics as all of these corporations and government systems fall. Don't be misled by politics and media, though, okay? What you ain't seeing on TV is when you need to be concerned, okay? Follow your independent news people on YouTube because they give you the real deal, okay? He's lying. Anyway, back to what I'm saying here. Expect all of this to come out as far as truth, and that's going to help us like, damn, okay, we know the truth, which is going to reach, it's going to change what we believed. Old structures, governments, or financial systems may collapse, as we're seeing this already in the making, to make way for new ones in 2026. And if you add 2026, that all equates to a 1. New cycle, new beginning, Aries season, okay? Now, expect spiritual awakenings and collective shifts in consciousness. That's going to intensify, okay? Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? So we definitely are spiritually awakening, okay? And our consciousness is shifting. That's been going on, but expect that to intensify this year. We're only in the 3rd month of this year, okay? And I feel like we've gone through 9 months of this year already, considering the things that have occurred, okay? Keep going, keep faith, keep doing what you need to do, okay? And keep your ear glued. Don't hide under no rock, because what's going on is affecting us all, okay? Now, the next thing we could expect is a major shift in leadership and power dynamics. Snakes, because this is that wood snake year, okay? And the universal year 9 endings, transformations, right? That's going to bring a major shift in leadership and power dynamics, okay? Snakes are very cunning and very strategic, okay? So we may see some power plays and some unexpected moves. I think we're seeing that already. Deep personal transformations, okay? Many people will feel like they are ending a phase of their life and preparing for something new. I could feel it, okay? But also we're going through some karma and some past actions that will catch up with folks. Since 9 is a karmic number, okay, expect people, governments, and organizations to face consequences for their past choices, okay? Anything that was ill done to the collective, to the innocent, okay? Expect those entities, people, okay, to reap the karma. Ain't nobody safe, okay? So I wanted to just get into just don't resist endings, okay? Embrace change. Trust your inner wisdom and your intuition, okay? Take time for deep reflection and spiritual growth. And get prepared for this new cycle of 2026, which will bring fresh beginnings. 1 is always at the beginning. The 9 is the year we in, which is the ending, okay? So for the collective, this is the year 2025 of profound transformation, revealing hidden truths, spiritual awakenings, and the collapse of outdated systems. Okay? So with that said, hopefully if you need me to assist you in how this pertains to you in a Chinese zodiac way, how this year is going to impact you, definitely hit me up. I can give you the tools and everything to help you with everything. Now, the next thing I want to get into is this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, okay? That is going to be exact on Friday, I think 3 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, okay? But nonetheless, a full moon in itself is powerful, okay? But a lunar eclipse, meaning lunar is the moon. That's the feminine emotional receptiveness. It's going to be pretty strong. Okay, I'm feeling it. I know so many other people feeling it. You don't have to be a Virgo to feel it. Just certain aspects that this moon is making to your natal chart that may be the reason that you're feeling it. But I want to give us some insight collectively as to what this is about. Okay, now I'm also going to give us some insight into your rising signs as well. So with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so basically this is important because there's a major significance of eclipses, Mercury retrogrades going on. This month is probably one of the most stressful. This week one is stressful in itself, but this month is going to be action packed. Okay, we're dealing with eclipses. Okay, we're dealing with retrogrades. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to also talk about how these transits interact and what they symbolize in a larger astrological context. Then I'm going to talk about the importance of the Virgo Pisces, which is the opposite axis. Virgo, the opposite of Virgo is Pisces, so that energy axis there, eclipse, and then the Aries energy, which Mercury is in Aries right now in retrograde. Okay, so I'm going to get into that and then let us go. Now, the lunar eclipse in Virgo is March 25th, 2025 at 22 degrees. Interesting number, okay? The general meaning, basically, of this is Virgo kind of represents purification, the virgin, order, health, work, and routines. A full moon eclipse in Virgo kind of brings heightened awareness of details, efficiency, and structure. It also may highlight themes of health, work-life balance, and healing, okay? So there's also a potential for deep revelations and karmic shifts related to responsibility and practicality. So a lot of us are dealing with health-related, work-related, day-to-day practical type of things. We may be dealing with gut issues. We may have headaches. We may have some symptoms because this is a very powerful lunation eclipse here, okay? But it all stems from what does Virgo stand for, okay? Let's keep in mind, the South Node is in Virgo, okay? So there's something in your Virgo house that is going to be eclipsed out, something that you need to let go of. It is destined, fated, right? So whatever that is for you, you would know what that is. If you need my assistance in helping you identify that, you know how to reach me, okay? Now, the aspects involved. This full moon here, eclipse, is going to have an opposition to the sun. So while the sun is currently in Pisces, because it's Pisces season, it sits at 22 degrees. Opposite of that is going to be Virgo, the moon, the eclipse, 22 degrees, okay? And so with that opposition there, the opposition to the sun is conjunct Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces. The sun is in Pisces. They're conjunct, so they're close together at 22 degrees. That's going to be some heavy restrictive energy that's going to be demanding some emotional maturity. Okay, we're going to have to, and we're already in energy, the ecliptic energy. The ecliptic energy kind of starts 6 weeks before. We have that eclipse, lunar, the 29th of March. We'll get back together and talk about the solar eclipse in Aries, okay, because they occur in tandem. There's always a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. So we got to be mindful that we might need to control our emotions, okay? There's probably going to be some heavy restrictive energy with Saturn here conjunct the sun, okay? And so the moon is going to be trining Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus at 22 degrees. Don't be surprised for any surprises, breakthroughs, or sudden shifts in your emotions or practical matters, okay? And so this 22 degree, okay, from a Sabian symbol for Virgo, it's a royal coat of arms enriched with precious stones. Okay, so when you just think of that, okay, because everything has to be Greek, methodical, poetic, and symbolic, okay. A royal coat of arms enriched with precious stones. What that really means is recognizing your legacy, your personal mastery, and honoring tradition while you're evolving. Okay, that's what that means. Now, of course, you know, take advantage of your rituals. I am a lunation queen. So every full moon, every new moon, I'm doing my rituals, my, you know, manifestations and things of that nature. And so the rituals and the stones for the eclipse, I would say rituals is detox, you know, or declutter, you know, mind, body, home. Okay. Candle work, you know, for grounding, you know, and use earth scents to ground you, like sage, rosemary, frankincense, patchouli, nag champa, myrrh. Okay. Meditation for releasing perfectionism and accepting divine order. Virgo energy, you know, wants to be detail oriented, perfectionist, can be critical of self, okay, doubt self. And so likes to take control, okay? We need to surrender, okay? We need to let go. This is energy that is out of our control. So we can't control anything but our emotions, our reactions to things, people, places, okay? That's the only thing we can do right now. And so the stones, I didn't have time to pull mine out. I do have all of these though, but the stones for this eclipse: moss agate, that's for grounding and for health; jasper for stability and endurance; clear quartz, which amplifies the clarity and the purification, which Virgo energy is about, okay? Now, let's go to the Mercury retrograde, okay? We are in pre-shadow. Mercury will go retrograde on the 14th of March, and it will retrograde until April the 7th, okay? The themes here when it comes to Mercury in Aries retrograde: bold, impulsive thinking, but needing patience, okay? Because that Aries ready to go. Mercury ready to go. But Mercury is in retrograde, which is having you to rethink, revise, review, revisit, right? And so the other thing is maybe you want to revisit past decisions or old conflicts that relates to independence or leadership. That's Aries energy, okay? Could definitely be some potential miscommunication with authority figures, so y'all be careful on your JOBs. Technology glitches, misdirected messages, or aggressive speech patterns. You could probably see a lot of that playing out right now. I could tell you right now, my job laptop went out kapoosh. I had to get a whole one ordered, but because of Mercury being in pre-shadow retrograde, the delivery, the transportation of said technology was also a faux pas as well. So, okay, we're dealing with that. Now, the retrograde, Mercury retrograde in Aries, that degree is 9 degrees, right? And so for the Sabian symbol of Aries at 9 degrees, that is a seer gazes intently into a crystal ball, okay? So really that means is looking forward, right? Gaining insight from your intuition, but needing discernment. We definitely need to be very aware of what's going on, because there's a lot of deceptive energy amongst us, from the major to the minor, okay? We got it all around us, okay? So if we want to do rituals for this Mercury retrograde, you know, review past projects, revisit old ideas. You can do some protective spell work for smooth communication. You can actually have some writing exercises for clarity and intention setting, okay? And so the stones that you can use for Mercury retrograde in Aries is fluorite, because it brings that mental clarity, that focus. Black tourmaline, which is that protection from the negative energy, okay? And then the blue lace agate, which is this calm and clear communication. That's the energy there. And so now I want to get into, how this is going to affect each rising sign. This eclipse, full moon eclipse, as well as this Mercury retrograde, okay? And so I want us to stay tuned, because I am going to be back. I'm going to go off the grid a few days, okay? But when I come back, we're going to talk about the solar eclipse, okay? And March 29th, and then Neptune, which Neptune doesn't move. The last time Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. It is going into Aries. Major move, okay? Neptune takes 248 years to rotate all 12 zodiacs. And so for it to enter into Aries, we're going to talk about that, okay? Because that's the last time that happened was 1861, okay? Okay, so that's going to have an impact on spirituality, war, and personal identity, okay? And it's going to, help us understand that shift of collective consciousness, so to speak. Okay, so basically, I want to share with you how this energy is going to manifest in your natal chart as your rising sign. This lunar eclipse in Virgo and this Mercury retrograde in Aries, okay? And so this just going to share with you how this will unfold in everyday life for each rising sign. So I'm going to start with the Aries rising. I'm going to go all the way to the end. So I don't have this time stamped. I don't have time to kind of perfect everything, even though that's the Virgo in me saying, shut up. And, I'm doing the best I can. Anyway, Aries rising. Okay, this lunar eclipse in Virgo is going to be activating your 6th house, which is going to be your work, health, daily routines. Okay, so what themes may play out for you is there may be a shift in your job, work environment, or daily habits. Aries rising, if you've been overworking or neglecting your health, this eclipse forces a wake-up call, okay? You might change your diet, you might quit a job, or start a wellness routine, okay? There also may be some work conflicts that may surface, demanding clearer boundaries. Possible unexpected shifts in coworkers or employment status. So just be careful, okay? And that's the eclipse. I definitely need to call my Aries rising people and inform them of these potential things that could play out. Now, for Aries rising, the Mercury retrograde in Aries is in your 1st house. Your Aries rising, that's your 1st house of identity, self-image, right? So this could affect you where you may be rethinking personal goals, style, or how to present yourself to the world, because that's your mask that you show the world, your rising sign, that's what people see, right? And so you may feel misunderstood or struggling to express yourself clearly, okay? Because Mercury is retrograde in Aries. There may be some old personal issues that surface that may force you to reevaluate how to advocate for yourself. Okay. Also expect some delays in personal projects. And so the theme for you, patience is key. Now let's go to Taurus risings. Okay. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is activating your 5th house of creativity, romance, and self-expression. What themes may play out is there may be a romantic situation that reaches a turning point. Okay, maybe the passion intensifies, or maybe it fizzles out. Okay, there could be some creative projects that may be completed or restructured. Okay, there could be some issues with children, if it applies to you, that may come up for resolution. Okay. There also may be perhaps a desire to prioritize joy and self-expression instead of responsibilities. Okay. Now, that's the lunar eclipse in Virgo for you. Now, for Taurus rising, the Mercury retrograde in Aries is going to be activating your 12th house, which is your subconscious, your spirituality, your isolation, the hidden house, right? And so this could bring about deep reflection on past wounds, healing past mistakes. This could also be dreams and intuitions that become stronger but still confusing. You may feel the need to withdraw, meditate, or take a break. There could be some secrets or some hidden information from the past that could also resurface too. So that's for you, Taurus rising. Moving on to Gemini risings. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is activating your 4th house of home, family, emotional foundations. So things could play out like a move, a renovation, or a change in family dynamics. Healing old wounds with parents or addressing past family issues, okay? Realizing you need a new emotional foundation, so letting go of toxic attachments. And this could be career versus home life imbalances, you know, that becomes highlighted during this time where you want to make sure your home life is balanced. So this is where the eclipse could play out, okay? Now, the eclipse is a wild card. Now, I'm giving you themes of the house, okay? But this is something for you. Hopefully, it gives you some insights into direction and where to look for these things. But just understand, an eclipse is something that is out of our control. It's destiny, it's fate, okay? And so, now getting with the Gemini rising, the Mercury retrograde, that is your ruling planet there, Gemini. That's going to be activating your 11th house of friendships, social networks, and goals. So your friendships may be tested. There may be some misunderstandings or reconnecting with old friends. There could be some revisiting old group projects or reevaluating your social circles. You might be feeling unclear about long-term goals or shifting your aspirations, you know. There could be some networking events that could bring past opportunities back your way. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool there, Gemini risings. Now, moving on to Cancer risings. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is activating your 3rd house of communication, learning, siblings, short trips, okay? So things that could play out like sudden realization or truth revealed in conversations, right? Issues with your siblings, your relatives, or your neighbors may come up for resolving, you know, resolution. There could be a shift in how you think and communicate, you know, becoming more precise and intentional with your words. There could be some travel disruptions or some rethinking educational plans, okay? And so that's the eclipse for you, 3rd house. Now, Mercury retrograde in Aries is activating your 10th house, which is your career, your public image, your authority figures, okay? So that could manifest in ways like confusion or miscommunication at work. So you make sure you double check your emails and contracts, okay? Looking over communication, okay? A boss or an employee from the past may reappear, okay? You might be reevaluating your career path. You know, is this truly what you want? You know, but be careful and not, you know, make any rash professional decisions during a retrograde. You want to review retrograde before acting. So once Mercury goes in direct, you kind of reviewed it, made up your mind. Now you can act on what it is you made as far as a decision. Now that was the Cancer risings. Now let's go to Leo risings. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is activating your 2nd house, which is your values, your self-worth, your money that you earn, okay? So there could be some financial shifts, some unexpected income or expenses. There could be some reevaluating your values and how you spend your money. Okay, you might want to budget. Okay, realizing that you need better financial stability or a new income source. Okay, and you might be letting go of that scarcity mindset, becoming more confident in your abilities, which is a great thing for you, Leo rising. Okay, now this is activating your second house. Now let's go into the Mercury retrograde in Aries, because that's activating your ninth house, which is your beliefs, your higher education, and your travel, right? There may be some delays or changes in travel plans. There could be some reevaluating education, spiritual beliefs, or long-term goals as well. You might experience some past legal issues or academic matters that may resurface during this time. And you might second guess philosophies, becoming more open to different perspectives. Okay. And so Virgo risings in the house. This is activating your first house of self-identity, your physical body, okay? And so there could be a very powerful personal transformation where you are letting go of outdated self-concepts. There could be some prioritizing of self-care and authenticity, okay? Physical health changes where you're paying more attention to your diet, exercise, or lifestyle. And you might become more assertive in your relationships, okay? So that's for the eclipse type themes for the Virgo rising. Now let's talk about the Mercury retrograde in Aries. Now we know Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. And so for this is activating your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, and transformation. And so this could play out like old debts, taxes, financial agreements resurface. You might be revisiting intimacy issues or past emotional wounds. There could be a feeling a need to release toxic emotional patterns. There also could be some secrets or some hidden matters that may come to light. So keep your ear open. Okay. Now we'll go on to the Libra rising. Okay. That would be me. Okay. Libra rising. Lunar eclipse is activating your 12th house, which is your subconscious, your hidden matters, your endings, okay? So this could play out in ways like there could be some hidden truths come to light, or some deep healing and introspection. Letting go of toxic cycles, addictions, or self-sabotaging behaviors. Increased psychic awareness and vivid dreams. I'm a Libra rising. I can tell you that I have been signs, synchronicities, dreams, things of that nature, and wanting to delve deeper into the esoteric realm by way of numerology, astrology, energy, period, okay? Because I want to know, okay? But anyway, there could also be feeling the need for solitude and spiritual connection. Okay, now Mercury retrograde for Libra risings is going to be activating the 7th house of relationships, partnerships, and shit. Okay, and so old lovers or business partners resurface. Relationship communication could occur. So you kind of need to be patient with the discussions, okay? Reevaluating commitment, okay? What do you really want in a partner? You know what I'm saying? And then this could bring closure to past relationship wounds. Libra risings, okay? Now let's get into Scorpio risings. This lunar eclipse in Virgo is activating your 11th house, which is your social networks, your goals, and your friendships. So you may see this play out with major changes in your friendships where you're letting go of toxic connections, okay? Your goals may shift. What you wanted before may not be valid, anymore, doesn't resonate with you anymore. So there could be a shift in that. There could be some unexpected social invitations or some networking opportunities. So keep a lookout for that, Scorpio risings, okay? Now, Mercury retrograde in Aries is activating your 6th house, Scorpio rising. So this is your work, your health, your routine house, right? There may be some work disruptions, miscommunication with colleagues, revisiting past health routines or dietary changes, needing more organization in your daily life. You may be feeling that. And that's just to give you a little view of themes that could be playing out. But when I tell you the house, if you know how to get to what that house means, then that'll give you an idea of what you're experiencing and could experience. And because eclipse energy could last up to a year. okay, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't necessarily have to eclipse out at the day of the eclipse. We're already in that energy. We're already in that zone, okay? So what's going on around these months, okay? 6 weeks prior, 6 weeks after, you know, you want to look at the whole, you know, give it time before you actually can see it if you haven't seen it already. Anyway, Sagittarius. Let's go to Sagittarius rising. Lunar eclipse in Virgo is activating your 10th house, which is your career, your reputation, your public life. Okay, so there could be some career breakthroughs or endings. Big changes at work that could occur. Okay, there could also be some recognition for past work or needing to switch professional paths in its entirety. There could be some struggles with the authority figures that might come to a head. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. But this is your 10th house. Okay. And so now let's look at Mercury retrograde in Aries. That's activating your 5th house. That's your creativity, your romance, your fun, right? So exes may reappear. So there may be some unfinished romantic business. Creative projects may need revisions. Rethinking hobbies, what truly makes you happy could be a thought of yours, okay? So I want to go back because if you notice these rising signs that I'm mentioning, X is coming back, the past coming back, that usually occurs during a Mercury retrograde, during a Venus retrograde, okay? So just keep that in mind. I've already had a few friends try to reach out to me, you know, and so I'm gonna keep my personal to myself, but they coming back, okay? So just be aware. Okay, now Capricorn risings, okay? Let's see here, hold on. I just did Sagittarius risings, so Capricorn risings. Okay, so Capricorn risings, this is activating your 9th house, you know, which is higher education, travel, your belief systems. So there may be a major shift in your belief systems, your education, or your long-term goals, Capricorn risings. There could be some unexpected changes in travel plans or academic pursuits. You may reevaluate your spiritual perspectives right this time and seek deeper meaning, you know, into spirituality. There could be some legal matters or some publishing projects that could reach a conclusion. So that's good to know. That's the 9th house for you, Capricorn rising. Okay. Now the Mercury retrograde for you, Capricorn rises in Aries, is activating your 4th house, which is your home, your family, your roots, you know, your lineage, your ancestors, right? Your nurturing parent. And so family issues could resurface during a Mercury retrograde, you know, so conversations with your parents or your relatives about the past. There could be some delays in the home renovations, relocations, or property decisions. So if you're looking for homes, there could be some delays in that regard. There could be some miscommunications at home. So just be mindful of arguments or misunderstandings, okay? And nostalgia, 6 of Cups hits hard, okay? So revisiting childhood memories or ancestral roots, okay? Mercury is in retrograde for you to reflect, revisit, revise. And the home is the roots, the family, the ancestry, okay? Your lineage, okay? So that's for you, Capricorn rising. Now let's get to Aquarius rising, Pisces rising, and then I'm going to do my personal reading and I'm out. Okay, now lunar eclipse in Virgo is going to be activating Aquarius rising's 8th house, shared resources, intimacy, transformation. So there could be some financial shifts for you, like debts, loans, inheritances, or shared money that require your attention. Okay, there could be a deep emotional transformation where you're letting go of old trauma. You could have some relationship dynamics shifts, possibly ending toxic emotional bonds, or there could be some increased psychic or intuitive abilities. So really you need to trust your gut instinct. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit on our gut instincts. If your gut makes you feel a certain way, that's normally your gut, your intuition telling you. And sometimes it's, we want validation and clarification. So we seek guidance and wisdom from a spiritual teacher, healer, myself. Okay, I'm one of them, where I basically am confirming what you intuitively already know. All I am just putting a stamp and validating it, okay? Because sometimes we want to, trust in our instincts, our gut instincts, we just really need to lean more into our intuitive abilities, okay? We're all psychic. We're all spiritual beings with spiritual powers, okay? The quicker that we realize that we all would be bad if we knew how to handle and display those skills in a good, healthy manner, okay? Anyway, sorry I interrupt your reading, Aquarius rising, okay? We were talking about the 8th house activation for the eclipse for the Aquarius rising, okay? Now let's talk about this Mercury retrograde, okay? This is going to be your 3rd house of communication, learning, short trips, okay? So there could be some travel delays for you or some issues with transportation. There could be some misunderstandings in your communication, text, email. So make sure you do a double look. Dot your I's, cross your T's before you hit the send button or you mail something off, because Mercury gets a little wonky when it comes to transportation, communication, things of that nature. You might want to revisit old studies, courses, or skills, okay? Also, this is the 3rd house, where siblings, neighbors, issues around that may resurface, which is allowing you to clear past disputes. So that's pretty cool. Now, last but not least, it's Pisces season. So we're going to end with the last zodiac, Pisces rising. Okay, this lunar eclipse is activating your 7th house of relationships, marriage, and partnerships. So some major turning points in relationships, whether you are committing or separating from someone, that may occur. Realizing what you truly need in a romantic or business partner, because we know the 7th house is of partnerships, whether it's business or romance, okay? Relationships, clients, the other, okay? So this is, you might be reflecting on, what do you want? Any unbalanced relationship dynamic for you, Pisces rising, is going to be exposed, okay? And with all these planets in Pisces right now, and if I'm looking at my astro wheel right now, okay, we have the Sun in Pisces, 22 degrees. Saturn in Pisces, 22 degrees, okay? Yeah. My house is... Wait a minute, hold on. I'm tripping. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is Pisces. Okay. I'm tripping. So, anyway, getting back to it for you, Pisces. So this is, any relationship that ain't really balanced right is going to be exposed for you, because this is endings. You are the last zodiac, you know what I'm saying? So there may be some contracts and agreements that could reach an ending or a revision, okay? Now, when it comes to Mercury retrograde in Aries, this is activating your 2nd house, your money, what you earn, your values, your self-worth. So you might be rethinking finances. Your past money mistakes may resurface. You might be feeling unsure about your self-worth or your material security. You could be reviewing investments, working on a budget plan or savings, okay? Or there could be some past financial opportunities that may return, offering a second chance in obtaining those financial opportunities that were previously pursued, okay? Now, let me wrap up here. So basically, the summary of this is with the lunar eclipse in Virgo, March 25th, okay? This is going to bring some finality, some clarity, and some revelations in a specific area of our life. And I just went through the rising signs indicating the house, which is the area of life, okay? This is a time for healing, purification, and restructuring habits. Expect major karmic shifts related to the house that this eclipse is falling in, okay? Also, when it comes to the Mercury retrograde in Aries, okay, that time frame, March 14th is when it retrograde. There's always a pre-shadow before it retrogrades. Then it does its retrograde, motion from March 14th to April 7th. Then there's a post-shadow, okay? So the whole window there is a time in where we need to be reassessing decisions, revisiting the past, and slowing down the impulsiveness, okay? Got to be careful to think before we act, okay? There could be some miscommunication, technical glitches, and some delays, so we need to double check our plans and allow room for these type of things to occur. There could be a time for internal reflection, alignment, and second chances here, okay? So that's all good for us collectively. Now, ritual ideas, I don't put my stones out at all doing chaotic, unpredictable, wild card energy, okay? So I will not be putting my stones out or making any moon water during this particular lunation because it's already out of our control, okay? Now, of course, we can manifest and everything like that. And so what I would suggest really ritual-wise for this eclipse, cleansing rituals, letting go of limiting beliefs and working on healing. That's shadow work. Or, whatever type of healing that one needs, mind, body, soul. Now, rituals for this Mercury retrograde, I would journal past patterns, make you some protection spells. You can write your name down and circle it and put salt around the circle. Salt repels negative energy. That's just a simple ritual right there to put yourself in protection. Okay, grounding exercise is going to be important too for us collectively. Okay, so with that said, hey y'all, how y'all doing? For those who have come in, I'm getting ready to get into my girls' reading real quick. Before I dip off, are there any questions about the eclipse, about the Mercury retrograde, anything like that before I get into this reading? Okay, I probably will post some important astrological updates throughout the week, but as far as me going live or anything like that, I don't expect that to happen until the end of the month prior to the solar eclipse in Aries, okay? And then we'll talk about Neptune entering into Aries, which is a major, major astrological shift that we all need to be privy of. So, with that said, y'all need to come back, rewatch this, check out how you can calculate your how the year of the snake applies to you, what Chinese zodiac you are, what element of that zodiac you are, what this year means for you, what your personal year is, all of that stuff is within our reach, okay? So you might want to go back and watch this video to, watch it and learn more about it, okay? No problem, cuz I'm hoping that this gave you some insight and some clarity, and you already know how to reach me for more information, okay? But nonetheless, let me get into this reading here. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about names, okay? Because this is a sensitive topic here that I am discussing. Okay, so what I am going to talk about is my client asked a question. Was she going to get proposed to this year? Okay. So I know you're out there, and if you're not there yet, I know you will get there. Okay. So I pulled my card. I did my interpretations. Okay. And I'm just gonna, go off of basically what it is. Now, what I'll say is you and we need to get together on a more personal level, a more in-depth level, okay? I'm not going to get into the reasons why, but we already understand we need more time with each other. Okay, I'm using the Gilded Royale Tarot deck to answer this question, okay? Okay, so when I asked Spirit, what was this year going to bring you with regards to where you're going to get proposed to this year, okay? And it's something you said right after that, and I was just like, wow, okay. So basically, so I pull my life path number. For those that don't know, I've trained my decks to pull my life path number. So I'm a life path 7, okay? And so things happen in threes. Threes is a very spiritual number to me. So I clarify with 3 cards. So this is just the method in case anyone wondered why. So basically, I got your overall energy, okay? And so your overall energy, that's the Hierophant, okay? The Hierophant came up, which is traditionally a strong indication of commitment, including marriage, So when I clarified the Hierophant, okay, because this was on your mind, this is the overall energy of the question that I'm asking Spirit for you. So the Hierophant, okay? So when I clarified it, I clarified that with the 5 of Cups. And so the 5 of Cups hints at like past regrets, disappointments, or emotional baggage, that may be affecting the timing or the certainty of a proposal, okay? And so I further clarified that with the King of Wands, but the King of Wands was in reverse, okay? And so that could represent a partner who is either non-committal, lacking confidence, or perhaps struggling with taking decisive action, okay? Because when he is upright, he is a leader, confident, okay, that takes action, okay? But being in reverse, there is that lack of, okay? So then the Death card came out, okay? Of course, those who don't know much about tarot, death doesn't mean literal death. It means transformation, the end of something, okay? So the Death came up in reverse. And so this is like stagnation, right? So there may be some resistance to necessary transformation, either within the relationship or in the mindset of your boo, okay? Or both. And so when I look at this here, and I'm just like, okay, this is your overall energy, right here. So we talking Hierophant, clarified by the 5 of Cups, King of Wands in reverse, Death in reverse, So these cards literally, while the idea of commitment, okay, is present, with the clarifiers, there are some obstacles that must be addressed before a proposal can take place, okay? There is some hesitation, possibly due to unresolved issues or some emotional uncertainty. So this is the overall energy, okay? So as I continued on, the Wheel of Fortune, like I said, came out, okay? And so this is about destiny, change, cycles moving forward. Okay, but when I clarified that with the Devil in reverse, okay? Devil in reverse, it seems like somebody, you or your beau, is trying to free themselves from toxic patterns or fears, which might be delaying the commitment, okay? I further clarified with 2 of Wands in reverse. Okay. Now, Two of Wands in reverse shows indecision. So we got stagnation, indecision. So there's a lack of planning or feeling, stuck in a situation. Stagnation. Then we had Six of Cups in reverse. That suggests the past is playing a significant role in this decision to propose. Okay. Either past relationships or childhood conditioning is influencing this situation. What I feel, because we have the Wheel of Fortune here, is I do feel like a major shift is coming, but there's the uncertainty and emotional baggage that need to be resolved first. The good thing is with the Wheel of Fortune is there is a chance for change, but the person that's proposing, it may still be a little hesitant. Okay. So got that there. Now you popped up strong in your reading. Okay. Queen of Swords, which is the Gemini, Libra, Aquarius card. Okay. It's somebody who is thinking logically rather than emotionally about commitment. Okay. Now clarifying this energy here, Page of Pentacles. Okay. This is the energy of learning, growth, and a careful approach, clarify more with Three of Pentacles, okay? That's teamwork, getting on the same page, effort in the relationship, you know what I'm saying? Building, right? And Queen of Pentacles here, financial or stability concerns may be playing a role in the timing of a proposal. So these cards here is really a strong practical element, I would say, energy-wise, right? Indicating that one or both of you are ensuring that the foundation is solid before committing fully. So that could make sense for one with these pentacles here. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's thinking logically. Somebody is needing to have something stable to build upon so that they can feel financially secure. What it takes to go through a marriage, a proposal, maybe having a problem with the purchasing of a ring. I don't know, okay? But I know that finances may be a concern. Okay, now the next thing you got was the Fool. Okay, so the Fool came out. The Fool represents taking a leap of faith, new beginnings, you know what I'm saying, and stepping into the unknown. Okay, and so when I clarified that, Three of Wands in reverse. Okay, and this is looking forward to the future, when it's in the upright. But when it's in reverse, it's like delays, setbacks. So stagnation, hesitation, delays, setbacks. Okay, and so then we had the Two of Pentacles. Okay, and that's like juggling priorities, potentially between work, finances, or personal readiness. Am I ready? Am I not? Do I have this together financially or not? You know what I'm saying? Can I do this or not? Right? Then we had the Knight of Pentacles. Pentacles is slow energy, right? So the Knight of Pentacles is slow. Okay, that's more stagnation, Things are not really moving forward as quickly as one might hope. Okay, so while there is a desire to start fresh and move forward, there are some delays. There is some uncertainty about the timing and the stability that is really slowing the proposal down. Okay, a proposal is not ruled out at all, but it may not happen as expected in the time that you would want. Okay, so we got that. Now, the next card came out, the Emperor in reverse. Okay, which is another, I would say this is his energy. Okay, this is like lack of control, structure, or readiness from your partner, that you want to propose or, expected to propose. if he was in the upright, he would have the structure, the control, the readiness, right? But with him being, with the Emperor being in the reverse, there's a lack of that, okay? So when I clarified that, we had the Nine of Cups in reverse. And that shows unfulfilled emotional expectations, okay? So this may be you or your partner feeling unsure if this is what you truly want right now, right? And so then we had the Four of Swords. He's resting, thinking, right? Contemplating, needing space to figure things out, okay? And then the Eight of Pentacles, it shows that work is being put into something, but it's slowly being done, okay? So I would say that the person, your beau, that you are expecting to propose, it may not be fully ready or feeling fully ready at this time or even in control right now. They may need some more time to work through some personal doubts, before committing to something like, marriage. Marriage for a lot of people is huge when it comes to that energy. Taken for somebody who has been married a few times. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so the next card that came up was the Sun, and the Sun is always the happiest card in the deck, but it was in reverse, And so the Sun being in reverse, it's temporary unhappiness, confusion, or delays in achieving joy, okay? Because when it's upright, it's joy, it's illumination, it's happiness, it's celebratory. It's the happiest card in the deck, right? So with it being in the reverse, I'm like, okay, why is it in the reverse? So I clarified it, and the Hermit is when you go within. That was in the reverse. Okay, so with the Sun being in reverse, that's that temporary unhappiness, that confusion, not achieving, delays in achieving joy. Okay, then when we are looking at it from the Hermit in reverse perspective, I'm clarifying the Sun. There may be some avoidance here. Okay. So someone is not really taking enough time to self-reflect or is avoiding necessary conversations. Okay, this might be a topic that is not comfortable being discussed. Okay, and so then we have the Empress, which is you in reverse. And that could point to emotional detachment, insecurities, or struggles with nurturing the relationship fully. And further, we have Six of Swords. That's going from choppy waters to calmer waters. So it suggests moving forward, but in a slow, uncertain way. Okay? So there is a lot of stagnation, uncertainty, time that's needed. Okay? And so the last card was Page of Wands in reverse. Okay. And so with the Page of Wands in reverse, when the Page of Wands is in the upright, it's enthusiastic, it's eager, it's excited, And when it's in reverse, it's hesitation, lack of enthusiasm, or miscommunication about future plans. I clarified that. Okay. Like, what's that? Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, which is basically delays in starting a new chapter, such as engagement, okay? The Page of Swords, that's like curiosity, but also uncertainty. So one of you might be unsure about the other's true intentions. And that is another card, Moon. There's confusion, hidden fears, or illusions. There may be doubts or unspoken concerns about the relationship's direction. Communication about long-term commitment needs to improve, okay? One or both of you got some unresolved fears that could be affecting the timing of a proposal, okay? And so kind of, looking at these cards here, I would say, in my assessment of this, I literally would say a proposal is not impossible right now, but there are some significant delays and some emotional uncertainties that you two need to work out or work through first, right? And so with the Hierophant coming out, which is a very strong card of commitment, traditional values, things of that nature, which is very important that came out, you know, this here is suggesting that a commitment is possible, you know, but with the Five of Cups that came out, the King of Wands in reverse, maybe some past regrets or indecisions that are holding the process back, okay? But the Wheel of Fortune did come out, so it does indicate change, you know, it's cycles, right? But it's not guaranteed to be in the form of an engagement this year, okay? Unless you guys are able to work through the issues that I was able to identify throughout the process, which is why I definitely, you and I need a more in-depth, more direct, and you know how I do my readings, I ask a few questions because I want to dig into him more and to get into what is it, okay? But based on, I mean, I get overtly what it is, but I want to dig deeper, okay? I need to know that. So my advice for you, sis, I would encourage open communication about these long-term plans to ensure, you know, you all are on the same page. Talk about it. Don't argue about it. Don't pressure anyone about it. But I know you're dealing with a Pisces, and they can be very elusive and avoidant and secretive and everything, and don't want to talk about heavy emotional things, okay? But that's something I think that would help both of you, is encouraging open, healthy, productive communication to focus on the issues, okay? Get on the same page. What are your long-term goals, okay? And do they include me? You know what I'm saying? I would also address any unresolved fears or past wounds, okay? I'm your reader, so I know these things that could still be impacting the relationship between you two, okay? So you might want to see, have you healed from that? You might want to release that into the ethers, you know, that wound that was created, or those wounds that were created. Could be on both sides, but I know you, okay? And so these could be some things that are impacting. Because what we have to understand is when our energy is vibrating on a higher frequency, we're going to attract a high vibing frequent energy. When our energy is vibrating on a low energy, we're going to attract low vibrational energies, okay? So the higher you keep your energy, the more you can see the difference between your energy and the next person who's in your energy, you know, is, right? And that'll kind of give you an intuitive hit on, is this the right person for me? Now, mind you, you may have a whole nother mindset after Mercury goes direct, since it's getting ready to go in retrograde, okay? But me and you going to talk on a more deeper level. But be patient, sis, okay? Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to force a proposal on anyone, you know, especially if that person isn't ready, because that could lead to resentment or withdrawal and eventual downfall of divorce. You know what I'm saying? In this day and age, a lot of people are having a lot of unconventional relationships. You know what I'm saying? I think I have been one of the poster people for unconventional relationships, you know. Whatever works for you, works for you. It doesn't have to be the way our silent generation, 1930s to 1945, family structure, value system is, okay? Doesn't have to be that way, you know? So at the end of the day, what works for you and your partner is what works for you and your partner, okay? And so I also would ask you to watch for clarity, by the end of this year, really, okay? As a Libra like myself, the Wheel of Fortune popped out, which is definitely suggesting there is a turning point that's on the horizon, okay? But it also depends on the work put into the relationship. And you know, in order for a ship to move forward productively, progressively, two people got to be rowing the boat, okay? One person can't carry the ship, okay? Two people have to be on the same page. They have to have the same goals in mind in order for that thing to work, okay? So definitely, I think by the year's end, you'll have a better understanding on what I'm talking about today. And so, like I said, I wouldn't rule out engagement, okay? Or I wouldn't rule out engagement, okay? It seems more likely this year it's going to be more so about you guys working through the personal and the relationship struggles first, strengthening the bond, because what you want to create is friendship first before marriage, right? So you want to be able to talk to this person without, you know, them running away or you running away. You want to be able to have shared goals, someone who, you know, has your same goals and values that you have. While we could be different in various aspects, do we complement each other, you know? And ask yourself, what is it about this person that truly you want? And I think that'll help you understand, is he a lesson or is he a blessing? Okay? I already have an idea, okay, of what he represents for you during this time, but I am not going to ever disclose that unless I am asked. Okay? But nonetheless, what I would say is this is going to be a very learning year for your relationships, to work on any personal struggles that you guys have. It's not even about the relationship itself. It's about you, okay? And him individually. Individually, you two have things that you need to work on, okay? And then as you are able to do those internal things, then you could vibe with someone and see if you two have the same shared values and move forward from there. What I would hate to see you is jump into something, because the heart wants what the heart wants, okay? But those things come with lessons and heartbreaks, okay? So the next relationship, you know, that you get in, you only really take an unhealed emotional baggage to the next relationship, which perpetuates and repeats the cycle. So I'm trying to help you from doing that, because Venus is in retrograde. Venus is your ruling planet, Libra. This is hidden areas that we have been before in. What are you going to do different this time that you didn't do different the previous times? Think about that, okay? So with that said, I'm going to get off the reading. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for spending time with me. Go back, review the message. And of course, if you need any direct assistance, you have any questions or whatever, drop them in the comments. Hit me up directly. With that said, it has been a blessing. Peace and love. Deuces.